Yo, yo, what's going on?
We have some fabulous live music later on, but right now, here's the kind I prefer.
Change the music. What's going on? What's going on? Leave a message. Who's there? Who's there? Let's interact. Talking about men. What does it take to be a man on this planet? What does it take to be a man on this planet? What's going on? What's going on? Leave a comment, leave a comment. Let's chat about men talk. What's going on? Leave a message. We're talking about men. What does it take to be a man in this world? Let's interact, let's chat. There's 9 people here. Leave a comment. What's going on? Leave a comment. Or this can be exercise talk, burpee talk, calisthenics chat, whatever you want. Cash slave. Well, if you can make me money, then yeah. If you can make me money, then yeah, go for it. Angel, no, I'm not from Pakistan. I'm from the UK. I've got family in India, but I'm from the United Kingdom. England. Where are you from, Angel? Where are you from? Any PayPal link? Nice try, my friend, but it ain't gonna happen. Angel, where are you from? I said to another streamer, Thanos needed to clap. Thanos needed to clap. Needed to clap to erase your forehead. Well, you got a problem with my forehead, or? I'm not a big Avengers fan, though. Angel, you from Vegas? Nice. I went Vegas last year. Vegas was banging. Vegas was really good. Really good. Oh, another streamer. Okay. John J. Johnson, where you from? Are you interested in the chat? Around what it takes to be a man in this world? In this shit world that we're in? What do you think? What do you think it takes to be a man in this world? Tough question, innit? Tough question. What do you think? can leave it. I don't know if you can leave a super chat. I don't know if it gets set up on my channel, to be honest. I can check, but I doubt it. Yeah, I'm probably not on that journey yet of super chats. Yeah, I don't think so yet. AK17, hi, my friend. How are you? Are you interested in the topic today? Topic of discussion is, what does it take to be a man on this planet? Forgive me, I can't see your profile picture. Oh, okay. I subbed. Oh, thanks, AK17. Where are you calling in from? Where are you dialing in from, my friend? Are you interested in the chat? That's what I was going to talk about today. What does it take to be a man on this planet? But I want your thoughts on that, because it's an interesting topic. There's a lot of masculine energy being portrayed, a lot of feminine energy being portrayed. And where do men sit? You know, where do men have control over their lives in a world that is embracing more femininity? What about the masculinity in a man? What do we think? What do we think? But thank you for the sub, my friend. Thank you for the sub. I have no idea how to leave a super chat. System to requests. BBB, hi from Elisa. Is that your name, Elisa? Where are you calling in from? Where are you dialing in from? Let me know where you're dialing in from. Yeah, I can't get super chats or anything yet, unfortunately. But it's all good. It's all good. And I think working and being strong. Albania, nice. I know someone from Albania. I've got a friend there. I think working and being strong and being headstrong. How old are AK17? How old are you? How old are you, my friend? Just out of curiosity. Johnson J, the USA, to be man is to protect others and be respectful. Help animals, have an amazing beard. If you're talking about my beard, honestly, this isn't a good beard. This ain't a good beard. Like, nah. You know, I've struggled to grow a beard in my life, but, you know, this will do, you know. I agree, protect others. I do agree with that. I think that is what men should aspire to have as a skill. But to protect others. You know, because that, I think, is the masculine energy a man should have. You know, definitely respectful, good values. You know, never hurt anyone, look out for everyone, be accountable. I think is a key one. If you are accountable, then that is a good hallmark of a man, that you are for any mistakes that you make, you're not thinking that it's somebody else's at fault. That you are human, you've made mistakes, but you hold yourself accountable for your decisions, for your life journey. And guys, if you are, you know, leave a like if you're tuning in. That'd be appreciated. It gets more people on. If you can do that, it'd be really, really helpful. BBB, yeah, okay, from Albania, yeah. I'm from the UK, my friend. It's 6 out of 10. 14, John, that's facts. But I totally agree, John. Helping animals, yeah, I mean, I've got a cat as well right here as well. You know, that keeps me a bit grounded and a bit humble as well, you know. But yeah, I completely agree. Hi, sorry for asking. Tomorrow I'll go fishing with my friends. Do you know someone? I have no idea, Giovanni. I have no idea, unless you've looked at it live. You know, I'm really careful of these questions, you know. I don't know what people are asking. I'm a cat person myself. Yeah, I'm 34. Having a day off from training today. No burpees, no calisthenics today. I trained for the last four days, having a day off today. Back at it tomorrow, doing some pull-ups and some Navy SEAL burpees. But yeah, I mean, do you think today in this world being a man is a lot more harder than it was back in the day? What do you think? What do you think? Thanks, man. Do you think it's difficult for men to live in this day and age? Do you think it's difficult? Yes, back in the day, we had a lot of masculine, I guess we could embrace our masculinity because we knew what our purpose was as a man. Oh, you're a woman. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, so from that respect, we knew what our purpose was as a man back in the day, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And now the dynamics seem to have changed where our masculinity is being questioned a lot more. And you've obviously heard the term toxic masculinity, where it's a case of some behaviors in men are being questioned, you know? And that's difficult for men, I guess, because you've got to, with men, it's like you need, like for us, I think when we are being questioned, it feels like we're being backed into a corner as well. In the sense that, you know, men are not as, I guess in the day you had the concept of alpha males. Yeah, it's changed in some regions, and I think in the UK it's changed quite a lot. The dynamics changed quite a lot. Where, I mean, I don't know if you believe in sort of embracing femininity, feminine energy, which isn't female. It's just more like, whilst in masculine world, it was more working, providing, protecting, no matter what, holding everything on your shoulders, and for your family, no excuses, like a no excuse culture. Get on with it. You must serve your purpose for your family. The dynamic seems to have changed where, yes, a lot of men are still doing that, but at the same time, there is an openness. But a lot of men still hold that, and that's great. But taking it on, if you're taking you're taking a lot on, I think in this world, there's also something called the art of suffering, where you are serving your purpose, but at the same time, you now recognize that men can also feel, you know, men can also struggle, men can also recognize that they have emotions, and that they can embrace that, but also speak up about them, rather than the culture of men will do everything, men will have, well, you build that weight on a man's shoulders, and they will continue to move forward, just so that everyone around them is comfortable, is looked after. What do you think? Do you agree with that? Because, you know, we're in a sort of a world where men are again not demanded or requested, if that's the right word, to become more open and soft, if that makes sense, but not in the way of, I guess, in the way of being able to recognize that life in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the dynamic has changed today. The dynamic is more, men are human, you know, men weren't machines and robots like they were back in the day. They had to work their socks off, they had to make ends meet, or however they can. But now, whilst men still continue to do that, they're also able to embrace those feminine energies, which is taking a break, taking a day off, recognizing that if you're struggling or you're not feeling so great, that you can take that time out and embrace that you are struggling, rather than letting it go and leaving it on the wayside. You know, just because in the dynamic of those times, it was, you can't, you know, whatever is you're feeling, you just have to suck it up and get on with it. But now it's different. So that's the way I see. But yeah, I do. It's changed in some regions. Completely agree. So we've got to look at I mean, everyone has their own definition of what it takes to be a man for themselves, right? Just because a definition for a man is different to yours doesn't mean that they're right, doesn't mean that you're right, doesn't mean they're wrong or you're wrong. Everyone has their own definition of what it takes to be a man. But I guess the question is, in this world, is it's being questioned a lot more. And sort of men are being, I'm not saying backed into a corner in that respect, but men are, I guess the values and the qualities in a man are, I guess, changing in the sense of what people want to see. And it's a case of how do men still show up for themselves in the way in which they want to show up for themselves, because there's still a lot of people who still hold their values of being a protector and a provider and being the breadwinner, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess some people can see it as a toxic trait, in the sense of you can continue to provide, protect, but there are also other means to living. There's also other means to be able to not just work, and there's a purpose. There's other purposes for what a man can do in their life, and that's not just. It's not just. Again, some men are maybe not willing to be that provider and protector, just the provider and protector, and take the weight on their shoulders. But they'd rather look at it as, I want to, I'm human as well. So what is the definition of a human compared to 1980s and 90s and yesteryear compared to now? Only think toxic is being abusive. Yeah, abusive is, I completely agree. I don't know. I mean, I've not done any research on this, but I think there's a rap for sort of a trait for a lot of men to be abusive, but I think men abuse is highlighted more than abusing by women, if that makes sense. But yeah, toxicity, I completely agree. I mean, abuse is unacceptable. And at the same time, I was talking about accountability, is that if you're deliberately being abusive for your own gain, then obviously that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. But I think that's a precedent or a definition sometimes of men from a lot of people. And, there could be multiple reasons for that. They could hold narcissistic traits that they're not aware of. They probably have a lack of self-awareness. They have a sense of false power, if you like. Ego. There can be so much. And when you're in an environment where the power or the control is so strong and dominant, you carry those within the people that you're around. But it also falls on from ancestral history as well, right? Because if their sort of peers, fathers, mothers back in the day were that dominant figure, that is passed down through the history and through the environments that children will grow up in. And that's also traits that are adopted from what you've learned, or what they've learned from their childhood as well. So there's multiple reasons for that. But I guess in this world, I mean, I guess that the dynamic I really want to focus on is what do men, when you hear feminine energy in a man, what does that mean? If men held feminine energy, does that mean that they're weak, or does that mean that they're recognizing that these feminine energies are important for their own, for man's well-being? Showing empathy to one another, showing, being compassionate to themselves, being compassionate to other people, um, soften yourself in a way, but in a good way, not harden yourself so much that you've got to meet certain expectations or follow a sort of a cultural element, but just soften yourself in the sense that men can relax. Receiving energy or receiving love as well, right? Because men can give, which is what men were known for in the past, but understand that men can receive as well, receive positive energies that helps them to become a human being, different, like a different version, different definition of a human being, which is to embrace that feminine energy just so they can feel human themselves. And it's okay for them to have a break. It's okay for them to embrace their feelings and their emotions, right? But in terms of alpha male, dominant male, potentially something that had occurred regularly in the past, but I think it's not very welcomed now, and it's not right anyway. But it's regularly questioned, and there are some men who rather be more soft and receptive and expand themselves to be more to be better human beings and to grow as a human being. Just leave a comment, see who else is around. Stay live for a bit more. There's a lot of people struggling with their mental health, but it doesn't help when men are regularly questioned, and it's not a bad thing for them to be questioned. I think it's more of a case of questioning the qualities in a man and people wanting to see men in a different way in this day and age. But that's the way, and I think the questions of men not being, men being questioned also can impact the mental health as well. Because again, we are in more of a world where emotions are embraced and the world is a bit more soft or becoming softer, And we're sort of two sides of the spectrum, which is one which is more men, men being the caregivers and being the providers and just holding everything together, where now they're embracing energy where they can't always hold it together, but they're in a there's more of a open world where they can openly admit that they haven't got everything together and that they can express how they're feeling and whether they're struggling. See if anyone else has left a comment. Just going to stay on here and see if anyone wants to interact and comment. Open space around men's mental health. I'm happy to just chill online for a bit. If you're here, leave a comment, ask a question, whatever it is you want, go for it. Your opinion on men crying. I don't think it's a bad thing. It depends on your perception of it. Is your perception of men crying, I'm not saying you directly, but is the perception of men crying that you are weak because you have been taught that men shouldn't cry back in the past? So men don't associate crying as a healthy emotion. They associated it as a unhealthy emotion in the sense of men shouldn't cry. Men have a job, men have a duty. You have no time to express your emotion. You don't have time to be able to let them out. And if that means crying, so be it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think particularly in a world where a lot of mental health is more embraced now, there is more of a comfort in men. I guess in most of the world, there's more comfort in men that they're able to let their emotions out. And it's a good thing, in my opinion. I think it's a good thing because what it's not saying is that you're weak. It means that you've held on and you've been strong for so long that you also need a break. And not you, actually. I would say your mind needs a break. And if that means expressing in a certain way that allows you to do that, that includes crying as well, then I'm all for it, to be honest. It doesn't make you any less of a man, in my opinion. How? The only way, if someone says it makes you less of a man, is because of the dynamic in the past where crying or expressing emotions didn't even exist and never existed for men. So the persona of a man never doesn't associate with expressing your emotions. It's all about the perception of the past as well. If we were brought up in a world and grew up in a world where crying was the norm, then we'd see crying as the norm and it wouldn't be something that we'd ask about. But considering the perception of a man in those days compared to now, people are going to naturally see that and go, men crying, that's a bit weird. Men are not meant to cry because nobody has ever seen men cry in the past, or men have not been told that they can express their emotions. So I think it's a good thing personally, because for those reasons, it's great. because you're saying to yourself that I matter. I can't always do everything on my own. I can't always be the provider and protector. But there are men who are happy to do that, and that is all right. But it's now recognizing that men have emotions and men can struggle, men have thoughts, men have feelings, men can suffer with depression, men can suffer with anxiety. Back in the day, I mean, I've not been prudent to the past, but 70s and 80s, I'm sure a lot of men would have suffered with some sort of depression, but they wouldn't have known what it was because they didn't know what it was. You know, mental health, nobody knew what mental health really was. So how the dynamics and the patterns of your mind were, you wouldn't have any capability sort of control them because you didn't know how to. Now, with more conscious thinking and self-awareness, it's a lot more different. And with the world embracing more of a softer touch for men, I guess that allows men to open up and say, yeah, I am struggling today, and I'm gonna express that I'm struggling today, or I'm gonna give myself that break because I deserve it. And the men can't hold everything on their shoulders because eventually men will collapse. So it's all about the persona and dynamics of men back in the past, which is now changing in this world, and hence people are still questioning it. So, yeah, thanks for the question. It's a really good question. But yeah, it's really important for, I still think, men to express. Definitely is. And if people are going to say, why are you crying, this, that, the other, they're stuck in the Stone Ages, in my view, because they probably still hold those alpha male qualities of, how dare you cry? You can't cry. Get on with it. Get up, get on with it. But that doesn't really work in the world, really, I don't think, at the moment, in most areas. Some areas, most areas, but it don't really work in the world. Alpha males, I'm sure the dominant alpha males do still exist, but, it really depends who you're around as well. Like, if you're around men who are dominant and alpha male, then you'll probably still adopt those qualities and take those forward. If you are embracing more of a softer generation of men, then you probably won't, right? It's a good question, though. It's a good question, but it's difficult. It's again, that's why we're questioning the world of men. What does it take for men? What does it take for men as well to feel secure about themselves in a changing dynamic, so that they can exactly embrace who they are and be proud of who they are, regardless of whether that's providing and protecting, or whether that's actually being a man who recognizes that they can struggle as well and they can express their feelings and emotions, that masculine and feminine energy being brought together. Namaste, my friend. More power to you. I don't know if you've just joined and how much you've heard, but yeah, I thought I'd do a quick live a bit earlier than yesterday, but I think over the weekend I'll probably do a live during the day. And these are the things that I want to talk about. So this one was more around, no problem. So we were talking about, what does it take to be a man in this world? Specifically, we're in a changing dynamic in this world, where back in the day there was a purpose for men to protect and provide and to be the breadwinner. And that also meant that men had a certain persona to uphold, and that meant getting on with things no matter what. no matter what, how they're feeling, that they couldn't express back in the day, compared to the changing dynamic of the world now, where mental health is more embraced and softness is more so, I guess, invited or embraced in a lot of men, and hence that connection between masculine and feminine energy, where masculine energy was associated with, in the most part, alpha male tendencies and dominance, control. But now a lot of men are embracing the feminine energy, in the sense of not just that, but also they don't always need to be the breadwinner, that their feelings matter, and it's okay for them to express. I think as the situation remains unchanged, but to be honest with me, I express my emotions quite a lot, to be honest with you, and I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing, because at the end of the day, if you are hiding or blocking emotions in here, it's going to impact you somewhere down the line. But if you can healthily express your emotions, whether it's away from people, whether it's through your journaling, writing, whatever, you are keeping your mind and body at peace. And there is no better feeling than inner peace, because if you don't have inner peace and you have a chaotic world inside of you, then that's going to manifest in your life, in your relationships, how you see yourself. And at some stage in your life, it's going to hurt you. So, there's a lot of situation does remain unchanged in a lot of areas, a lot of regions, but I want to be able to express that. This is why I like to try and do these more, right? Facts. Thank you, John. This is why I want to do these more, right? Is to be able to get people to try and speak up a little bit if they're struggling, or have these different topics, so that people are sort of comfortable with expressing their own sort of mental health, and more particularly in men as well, though, because it's really, really important for men to feel confident to express, because people want to see, I guess people want to see men in a different light as well. I guess probably I'm saying that for the woman, for the women of the world, right? So yeah, that's the sort of the way I see it. It's key though I guess it's key for men to recognize. I think there's a lack of self-awareness in a lot of men, in my opinion. And being self-aware means that you hold yourself accountable for your actions, your behaviors, your responses. And, when you hold yourself accountable, you're actually saying to yourself that whatever I do is down to me. Whatever decisions I make, how I behave is down to me. And what actions you take on the back of that to become a better person, that's holding yourself accountable, rather than blaming other people, or being the victim, or feeling like you're the victim. Nothing can really hurt me now compared to what I've already been through. Well, that's the thing, is that when you've struggled so much or gone through so much, you begin to feel a sense of strength, inner strength, to be able to block out anything that, anything that something or someone tries to bother you, or tries to make you become immune to these things. You become immune to pain, because you've been through it for so long and so much. Your mind will think, I can never get through any worse. Nothing can make me feel bad anymore compared to what I've already been through. So you become immune to pain and all of that, because it's an emotion that's unfortunately stored inside your body for such a long time, that you just have a strong threshold to pain and hurt. You just don't care, because it's a dynamic that you've probably experienced in your life, and it becomes the norm. So when something becomes the norm, it doesn't bother you as much. So like if I was, I don't know, I don't know, I don't want to use bullying for example, but if something kept happening to me each and every time and I was just used to it, you get used to it, you get immune to it, it doesn't bother you as much. You just think, here we go again. You know, this is just life, this is just my life. So that's really, really good to see it in that way, because if you're immune to pain, nothing can bother you. You have your own sort of four walls that nobody can break down, regardless, no matter how hard they try. And you're immune to that pain. So I'd say good on you, because it's really, really important to block out things that bother you, that don't bother you, because you develop a thick skin in life. Emotions are mental processes that are often associated. Absolutely agree. Thoughts are connected to emotions, and then emotions are connected to behaviors. So whatever emotion you feel, you're going to behave. You're going to behave or act in a sad way, difficult way, depending if your emotion is sad. If you feel like a happy emotion, then it'll come across within your actions and your behaviors. So I completely agree. It is the emotional system and the fundamental feeling that you carry is going to dictate how you behave, how you act. Most painful thing is emotional pain. Yes, I agree. Emotional pain can stem from like many things, such as obviously a relationship, you know, the actions of others that you didn't expect, you know, instabilities that all of a sudden rock your world in a blink of an eye that you cannot deal with because your mind has to continue to process it. It's like a wound that somebody has placed in us. And yeah, emotional pain is the toughest. You know, somebody's hurt you emotionally with their words. Somebody has cheated on you. Any sort of form of emotional pain that makes you hurt deeply inside requires time to process in your mind. You can't just dismiss it and go, I'll be all right, you know, and carry that macho personality. And I think that's the thing with men, is that macho personality has been emphasized so much back in the day that men feel like I have to carry everything on my shoulders and that's it. But they probably carry so much emotional pain, but they don't know how to deal with it. So that's why it's key, in my opinion, in this day and age, for men to embrace and express their emotions so that they can feel better for themselves and for everyone else, like their family and friends. I maintain a proactive and optimistic mindset, constantly focus on the positive aspect of every situation. That is key. Always see the positive in every negative. And it's such a true saying. Like, if something bad has happened to you, you can focus and fixate on the bad. For example, I don't know, there might have been something that you've done at work which has caused a ripple effect in the workplace. So you can either think of the impact that it's had on everyone, or continue to regurgitate, I can't believe I did that, I can't believe I did that, why did I do that, or if I should have done this, should have done that. Think of the positive. The positive is you will learn not to do that again. You will be mindful and careful next time around, whether you're sending an email, whether it's the way you said something to someone. There will always be a lesson in every negative experience. Always. You've just got to find that lesson rather than dwelling on the negative aspect of why that happened to me. It's like a heart attack, but worse. Well, it depends. If you're talking about the love of your life leaving you, then that's horrible. Or you've split up with someone because you've had to split up with them. That's absolutely horrible. That's some kind of emotional pain that's very, very difficult, because you sort of accept what's happened, but you don't get over it. You know, if that makes sense. So if someone's cheated on you or they felt some way, yeah, you've stored it and processed it, that it's happened, I've got to move on. But it still doesn't leave you. It still leaves an imprint on your mind. And that's the worst thing. It's the worst thing. But you've got to, when you have emotional pain, you've got to let it process, and there's no timeline for things that process. But eventually the emotions, providing that those energies are no longer connected with, the mind will recover for you to move on with your life. So if somebody's cheated on you, for example, and you continue to communicate with them, ask them why, always communicate, instead of trying to see the pain through but disconnecting from those energies, you'll move on a lot more quicker than you realize. So it all comes down to energies, to be honest, and your actions at the same time. So if something has ended, you should leave it in that space to accept that it's ended, and you will move on. Yeah, Time's a great healer. I visited there 16 years ago. We still maintain a cordial relationship. Oh, so where's that? Where did you visit? Where he lives? It's not, you're not the one from Vegas, are you, John? You're the US. Yeah, the US. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the way I'm seeing things. You know, I think it's difficult for men to express their emotional pain, and when they suffer with emotional pain, they don't know how to deal with it because they weren't taught how to deal with their emotional pain. Even within childhood, when you had caregivers who didn't see your emotional pain, and you were neglected as a child. So when you have emotions now, you hide them because you don't know how to deal with them. You don't know if it's the right thing to do. But when in your young childhood, if in childhood that you were able to express your emotions, you will do that nicely and easily in adulthood, and you won't see it as something to question. You will see it as normal life. Yeah. So emotional neglect, yeah, I mean, it's happened to me as well, but I've just had to go down the long route of recognizing that my emotions matter, my needs matter, and that I don't need to seek validation from anyone for my emotions. You find healthy and other ways in which to manage and express your emotions. Yeah. So it's a difficult one. But I guess we're coming into a world now where men are able to express their emotions. They're just still learning how to. We don't know how to. I've learned quite a lot on how to express. I've done a lot of work over the last 2-3 years, but a lot of men still don't. Like, they struggle. They think, well, what do I do with this pain? You know, they use external sources such as smoking, drugs, any other form of addictions that help them numb any pain, but that ain't the right thing to do. But the thing is, men don't know how to deal with their emotions and feel the pain, and that's the difficult thing, and that's hard as well and sad, because they use addictions and go through external pleasures in order to hide the pain, but the pain will continue to creep on them in their shadow each and every time. Simple as that. Simple as that. And men need to recognize that, and not feel like they're the victim mentality in things as well. But yeah, that's the way I see it. Any other questions, just shout. I'll be here for another 10 more minutes. How it takes a long time to heal? Yes, it does. Yeah, it takes a long time to heal from Yeah, it takes a while to heal from pain. But the thing is that if you are around people, you can talk to people about it, then that's great. But if you are on your own and you can't embrace your pain and heal from your pain and work through it, then it's very, very difficult for men to it's very difficult for men uh to heal, right? But this is the thing with the world, is that when men are struggling with pain, or maybe it could be women as well for that matter, is that they seek external pleasures to be able to hide the pain. They want to go with find someone else. They bring their bird home. Um, all that sort of stuff. So, and that's the consequence of men not being able to express their emotions. And being able to sort of embrace, why they're feeling a certain way and navigate and work through it. Especially when you have children with that person, or we're living together 15 years. Yeah, that's true. Because you have a stability in your life, right? And then when that's taken away from you for such a long time, it's very, very difficult to manifest and understand it and work through it. If you have had a road full of instabilities and doubts and difficulties, you're able to navigate them easier. But like if you've have had a stable, I don't know, relationship or marriage for such a long time, and all of a sudden it stops, that's very difficult to navigate as well. Because you're used to each other's company, it's stability, but any form of instability is very difficult for a lot of humans to be able to deal with. But that's why it's really important to learn, to be able to learn how to embrace your emotions. It can be overcome with time, yes, absolutely. But again, it's about you can only heal from it if you do not connect with that thing or person that's hurt you. Because if you do that, if you connect with your energies, if you connect with that energy that has hurt you, you're always going to be in that space and you're not going to be able to heal from it. So we do talk sometimes, not so often, but then what's the energies like? How do you feel when you talk with them? Do you reminisce of the past? Do you think about the past? Or do you see them as a brand new person or just a normal person that you're speaking to? Because if it doesn't connect with your past or any traumas or any experiences, then that's good, right? So it's just like a friendship with somebody else. But if it connects to your purse strings in terms of the past, then that's probably quite difficult because it takes you back there. So that's probably one thing I'd probably say on that. Oops. Yeah, but would you? Yeah, I'd like to know about that. But if you talk with them and it makes you we are good with each other. She used to complain about her new husband to me. Now she's divorced from him. We do talk because we have children. She's called me my elderly mother, main reason. Okay, cool. So you have sort of a common you have something in common in terms of that you get on with, which is great. But again, of course, if it's difficult for you to talk because it reminds you of your past, etc., then obviously that's really hard to navigate and deal with. But it just sounds like that you've both moved on, you both accept the situation, you accept that where your life journeys are right now, and you're comfortable being in each other's lives, I guess, which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing, a really good thing. So just I think sometimes if you ever reminisce about things in your life or the past, but again, if you're doing it for the sake of your children, you've got a reason, right, to be able to connect, and it's more for your children. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm not fussed about it. Well, that's great. You've disconnected from the past, and that's awesome. That's really awesome, man. You accept your journey, you accept your life the way it is, and that's perfect. That's really, really good, man. So I'm pleased for you. I'm really pleased for you, man. I really am. Because it can be, I'm sure, I mean, I've not been in that position, but if you've loved someone so much and you are connecting with them, but you still, I don't know if you feel that same way, but in that sort of hypothetical scenario, that must be really difficult to deal with. But if you've moved on probably so long now, so far forward, then that's really, really good. So well done. Pleased for you, man. I'm pleased for you. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to try and do some day lives, like latest 6-7 o'clock. I'm going to try and do a live over the weekend. Maybe I'll probably look to go live probably on Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Sunday, early, midday or so in UK time. And we'll continue to have these chats, but I'm going to leave it there. So thank you for the conversations. I don't know if John is still there, but big salute to John for his input. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, appreciate it. I will try my best to be able to get more people involved in these live chats. I think I've just got to look at the best time for people and try and grow things, which will take a lot of time, won't it? So, I mean, there'll be some lives that people don't work with. There'll be some lives that people do get on. So maybe weekends are probably better, but I will give it a shot and see how this works next time. But I'm going to leave it there. Good night.